Hey guys, welcome back to another commentary from a BJJ National Champion. Before we begin, thank you so much for all the support, guys. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, which is pretty cool to me, considering I thought that 100 was pretty neat. So, I know it's not the most compared to some other YouTube channels, but if you're considering 970 odd people in a room, that's pretty cool. So, thank you so much for the support. If you're enjoying the channel, please consider giving it a subscribe, because I like feeling like an actual YouTuber with 1,000 people listening to me. So anyway, this match comes highly recommended. It's Andrew Tackett versus Kade Ruotolo. I haven't actually seen it because well, truthfully, guys, I'm a bit of a heathen. I don't actually like watching jiu-jitsu on my days off, so I didn't really tune into the CGI event. Because I work 6 days a week doing jiu-jitsu and I wanted a break from it. So I'm going to experience it raw for the first time today. I'll just make sure that the quality is as high as it can be, and then we'll get into the match. So we got Mr. Tackett over here. Don't know much about him. I believe he's like an up-and-comer. And obviously the Ruotolos are very gifted, and so we got Kade over here. I think that Kade is the better of the two in terms of the Ruotolo brothers, to be honest with you. We don't really see much out of Nathan anymore, who's busy slapping his brother on the face and the legs to hype him up. And yeah. So this, by all accounts, from what I've heard, was like a really, really exciting match. And they're straight into it. So it's like a best of 3 rounds. The grip fighting is really good already. They're straight into it, and then I love what I saw there with that wrestling. So we're here in yeah, you can see it's really nice ducking and weaving. So we've got hand fighting up top, but Tackett's body positioning is really nice because you can see how he's quite distanced from Kade. So it makes shooting underneath really, really hard without the ability for Tacket to start sprawling backwards. But you can see as well that the elbows are dropped down and in to the body. And so this makes it really, really difficult, and because it allows a lot of reaction time for Tacket here. And you can see how he's going 2 together. So he's in symphony with himself, And he grabs this collar tie. Kade defends it really nicely, does like a duck down to make Kade react, and then he just touches the head. Kade overreacts, and then you can see straight away it happens again, and then Kade overreacts again, going up with his head, and then this is what allows a single leg attempt. And I love the fact that where's my mouse gone? That Tacket is just like running forwards. This is pretty well what you need to do, especially because of when you get people that are really good at wrestling, like young Kade over here, is that they will be on the way out straight away. And so beautiful defense by Kade, beautiful attack by Andrew. Once again, beautiful tackle. So I love this very basic concept that we can see works at the highest level, is like touch the head and then shoot low. And I love this very clear view of what we should be doing when we're tackling, is that he goes down and then forwards, rather than leaning in on the angle, as you can see. And now he's trying to go for this knee tap, so he's trying to get like the wrap around and then the tap so that he can start tripping Kade. But Kade's got this beautiful response of like turning with the tackle so that the knee tap won't work as effectively. And you can see that, beautiful mat return there. Beautiful Uchimata. Oh yeah, thank you so much for the the help with the names last video, guys. I know that I don't know the Japanese names too well, but I know major outer reap, major inner reap, that type of thing. But I can never remember the Japanese names just because I can't. So thank you so much for the help with that. I appreciate. So we can see this mat return is really pleasant from Kade here. So he grabs the whizzer up top, and he's hooking in nicely. So this helps to mitigate the lift, and you can see how he's off the floor right now, but he's not panicking, as it were. And so when Tackett puts him down, he puts him down into an Uchimata because the inside leg is going to be reaping back, and then Kade will spike this shoulder into the ground. And then that's what gets the takedown. Tackett straight away up on the elbow, not allowing, very nice, and then getting rid of the underhook in favor of not getting armbarred, because if you stay up the back, Cade's legs are going to come around your shoulders, and then you're going to be in trouble. And so in favor of a scramble, he gets rid of it in favor of like an overwrap on the arm, which allows him to stand back up. And so, it's a bit hard to tell who's actually winning this match. I'd suggest probably Kade at the moment, because he actually finished the takedown versus Andrew's 2 attempts at the takedown. And so we get here into this really nice grip fighting position. We get underhooks, nice underhook, nice head positioning. I love what Kade's doing. He's not trying to fight a bad spot. He's going straight arm and then trying to go backwards. And then gets an overwrap and then straight away for Ruotolo. Into the cage wall. The overwrap, we see Pixley do this against Marangali in the last video, this big Haragoshi. See? Fucking learning. This is an Uchi this time, because it's on the inside of the leg, but like we saw Pixley go on the outside of the leg for Harai, and then this is a big Uchi mat return. Really nice rotation through, and really nice lift. Something that a lot of people forget to do when they're doing their judo and their wrestling, is they forget to lift the other person. Kade doesn't seem to forget that much. And so we got this really nice mat return where we hit the side of the wall and then slide down. It's like you can almost add a sound effect. Bonk, like that. And then Tackett's busy wrestling up again. And I quite like the angling of this cage, because that kind of saved Tackett a few times, where he gets the leverage to be able to push off and stand back up. But if you notice, he's in exactly the same position as what he got thrown with just before. And so if he's not careful, even though, he is going around the back and he's like leveraging back down and backwards, he will get thrown again. And so this knee positioning, pushing forward, stopping this thigh, going back inside for another Uchi, is really nice positioning by Andrew. He's done really well there. Threatening a scissor kick takedown, and you can see how Andrew's trying to get on the back while Kade's trying to throw, and then like the leg went back through under the hook, and he could get like a scissor kick takedown by swinging this left leg of his back around behind the knee. And so it's a difficult position to play, and both parties are playing this really, really well. Little fucking spider monkey. And so I love what Andrew is doing. He almost gets thrown again into the wall, but he managed to do like a shoulder shrug off the top and then climb straight away on Kade's back. You can see how there's like a bar in, so he's going to get the body lock in pretty tight, and he's got cross wrap, and then he's on the back right now. And so this is a very difficult position to play, getting that body triangle in. I do love the excitement of the wall, to be honest with you. The not really stopping the action is pretty cool. And so this is a super hard position for Kade to be playing. Tackett's definitely winning now. He's definitely winning. You can see this hand here. What that's doing is it's trying to push the heel forwards, which will take the knee off the ankle, loosening the whole lock and allowing much more of a defensive opportunity. Of course, there is risks of someone being stronger just heel kicking in and trapping your own arm, but because it's reinforced on the knee, what Kade gets to do then is he gets to ab crunch and use his knee to reinforce the hand as a solid bar, rather than doing like a shoulder raise. So he's not pivoting from his shoulder, he's pivoting from the hip and the core, bringing the knee up through the hand, which is a pretty cool little detail. It's worth paying attention to that. And he's defending really, really nicely. So you can see how he's not ever accepting Tackett being on his back. If you look at where his back is, it's over here, whereas Tackett's chest is down this way. And so it's very hard to get the finish and the choke. And now it looks like Kade's going to start to be able to spin out, you see. And so this is a nice defense, really nice attack. And you can see how Andrew is really going for the submission. Because the rule set, I believe, was is best of 3 rounds, but a submission ends the whole thing. And to be honest with you, I quite like that, but I think it would even be better if submissions just ended the round and it was just a best of series, because you got things like Victor Hugo getting subbed by Lucas, what's his name, in round number 1, and then, you know, like who's actually better, because you do get caught and things can go wrong for you, but that doesn't mean that you're not better than the other person. So if it was a situation where it's like 3 rounds, best of, sub or not, you'd end up with kind of a bigger discrepancy of skill and a more comfortable display of skill. That's why we see that in like round robin tournaments, right? It doesn't matter as much if you lose 1 round. Anyway, that's just my personal opinion. On with the show. And so we got this really nice cross wrap. I love this defense by Kade. This makes it so hard to properly control the bottom arm, and it makes it very hard to get any semblance of choke going because the wrist is in the way. And so this is really, really nice defense by Kade here. You can see how he's just working and working and working, trying to put blockers in the way, because this is quite a tight wrap now, especially with the body lock. You can see he's cutting off his own circulation. And so we end up in a really nice position where, yeah, very good respect there. You see how Kade uses his elbow to leverage off the top. But if he's not careful, he's just going to take his own defenses out of the way. And so he leverages the hand off the head. And if he were to keep going up, he would end up opening the space too much. And so that wouldn't be, that you would end up getting submitted there. So straight away, because Andrew comes off, he snaps back down. Really nice. So Kade at the moment is trying to get his back flat, and Andrew's just not allowing that. He's just not allowing Kade to get his back flat on the mats. And you can see that it's still working, like, yeah, really, really close. It looks really unpleasant on the bridge of the nose, just below the nose, sorry. That looks really unpleasant. And you can see that Kade's actually in a fair bit of trouble at the moment. And so this would have been a big upset if Tacket managed to get this submission. So he's hunting for under the chin by leveraging up and up and up and up and up. And you can see how he's controlling that bottom hand. Kade needs the bottom hand to be able to defend effectively, because this top hand won't be able to get the leverage, whereas the bottom hand will. And so yeah, for $1 million, I would 100% be vicious like this as well, especially because Kade's quite vicious, and he does some pretty dirty stuff like covering the opponent's mouth and backflipping on top of them and dropping knees in places and things. So I would also be pretty dirty about it. And, you know, in terms of like winning a grappling match, everything's more or less kosher. And so we almost lock up this choke, and Kade is spazzing the fuck out. He just spazzed the fuck out, which is something to be said for that. If you consider, you know, trying to hold a dog down, if you have a dog, imagine if you had a dog and you were not afraid of being scratched or bitten, and you were trying to pin it to the ground, and it was like super wriggly. It'd be really, really hard to hold even a medium-sized dog down. Imagine trying to hold the dog the size of the human down. So when you get super wriggly, like what Kade's doing, it actually gets really hard to hold them effectively. And more or less, this actually comes down to the belief the other person has the control over you, rather than they actually have control over you, unless you're very, very tired. And so we almost sink in that rear naked, and then Kade manages to get his back to the mats, spazzes the fuck out, and gets out of the whole thing. And he's probably the spazziest world-class black belt I've ever fucking seen in my life. Andrew is forced to back up because he almost gets guillotined, and then Kade's on the warpath now. He's the type of personality that's like, all right, you tried to fuck with me, you did well, I'm going to fuck you up now. Which has its place and all the rest of it, but you can tell that he wouldn't be a very fun person to spar against or compete against, you know. Oh, beautiful work. So the flyby trip at the moment, we can't see the leg work, but you can see how we get the overwrap and the underhook. Kade is pulling down with one hand, lifting with the other, and he sticks his foot out to trip. And then Tacket goes flying. Fortunately, he has a hand to stop himself, manages to get back up to his feet, almost works, but very, very good attempt at a throw. So I suggest that Kade is still better at jiu-jitsu. But very, very nice tackle again. I'd suggest that Kade's still better at jiu-jitsu and probably a slight edge in wrestling. Tacket does have some very, very nice tackles like we saw. Kade's doing a beautiful job defending this. Gets back up, and that's a lot of energy that both burnt. Excuse me, sorry. And so we get into like no steady jiu-jitsu at all, no processed jiu-jitsu, just scrambled jiu-jitsu, which is exciting, but it's not as clean as we see. And so we see this really nice control over this far side wrist, and it's really quite interesting to see what they're doing. Kade is really long with his arms, and he's passing like the one hand into the other with an overwrap, and that's quite a strong grip. It's like having an overwrap on a gi collar. And so we see the hand get past, and now both arms are being neutralized, effectively with one. It's a very difficult position for Andrew to be playing here. He's got an underhook that's not really doing much at the moment. The shoulder crunching down is very strong, and this is a very dominating position for Kade at the moment. Andrew's just working back, manages to free the hand, and then we get into hand fights on the opposite side. Because overwrap and underwrap, overwrap, underwrap have their places. You know, they do have their places. I would suggest that an overwrap is probably a bit better if you're taller. And Kade, I think, is taller. But you can do a lot with both. And so this is more or less equal, more or less. Therefore, the battle becomes about hip placement, posture management, head placement, building height over the other person, and the far side arm. And you see how Kade was going for a cheeky little arm lock there. It doesn't quite work, but it's a go for free. You may as well try it. And we get into this break, and then we go again. So they're both quite tired, both very spazzy now, but you can see how they've burnt a fair bit of their frenetic energy, and it looks like Andrew has been poked in the eye. And so Kade goes for a tackle. Andrew defends it really nicely by pummeling in. Really, really nice. He's got double unders now. Kade has double overwraps, and now again, this is a difficult position to play for both people. And so I really like this position a fair bit more for Andrew, just because of where his head is. You know, it's really hard because Kade's like nutcrackering his hands together. This pivot point allows the elbows to travel together really, really nicely, which puts a lot of strain on the elbows, and it weakens the hand up top. It also puts a strain on the shoulders. My shoulders are quite tight. I need to do work on them, and if someone did this to me, I'd be tempted to let go, you know. Really, really nice. And then the overwrap can turn into Uchimata or Harai on both sides, but as you can see, the underwraps can turn into snap downs quite nicely. So again, it's just about what your preference of play is. If you got an overwrap or an underhook. Did not see what happened there properly. So it looks like Kade managed to fly by. Andrew goes for an overwrap as Kade's trying to like spin Andrew to the ground. And then Andrew goes for an uchi as he's getting spun and just does a fucking somersault. It's a good thing his head's not stuck out here, huh? And then does a forward roll. Kade manages to settle this position, and then we end up in the bottom of a half guard body wrap type position. Very, very nice. It would count as Kade's takedown there. It would count as Kade's takedown. Really nice. Don't necessarily like rape choking people, but it's good control nonetheless. Really, really nice work regarding that there, Andrew. You know, it's really good. And so we got the can opener, because what ends up happening here is that this is a spinal crank, but the way you alleviate the pressure in the spinal crank is very simple. You just unlock your guard, and then all the pressure goes. And so it depends on how flexible your back and your neck is, whether or not you'll need to open up the guard. It's very unpleasant down there, but you know, it just depends on the person. And again, the covering the mouth and things like this, it's It's always one of those ones for me where people used to complain about leg locks, and now we have a meta around leg locks in wrestling. People complain about wrist locks, and I wrist lock people all the time. Like it's an arbitrary line to draw where you find things dirty, but I don't know. Like, to me, covering someone's mouth when you're rolling or sparring in a competition is pretty dirty, and it's panic-inducing. It's the same type of thing as like eye gouging to me. But that's just me. It's also worth mentioning that like it helps win a grappling match, and if you're talking about winning a grappling match, it's effective. And within the rule sets of you can't bite, if it was a proper fight, if you did this, you'd get bitten, so you lose a finger. But it's not, and so you should do it because it helps you win, that type of thing. And that's the type of personality Kade is, I think, is that he'll just do anything to win, basically. Yeah, and you see Andrew doing the same thing back to Kade, and now Cade's doubling down on it because, I don't know, it's like, how dare you do it to me, fuck you type attitude. So helping each other up. Really exciting first match. Very scrambly. It should also be mentioned, by the way, the difference between scrambles and spazz is the direction and finesse of skill involved. So the reason why we call white belts spazzy is because they just do fucking random shit that doesn't make sense with aggression and physicality. These guys are doing not random shit with aggression and physicality, and that's why it's not spazzy technically. But yeah, it's definitely both of these guys are super fucking spazzy, and so we can see, yeah, it's pretty right, in terms of I think Andrew did win that round, to be honest with you, because he was on the back for a lot of it. He did get thrown at the end there, but it's worth remembering he was on the back for like 2 minutes there. And so I think it is right that Andrew did win that last round. Very close, though, because of all the throws. So we get into the second round. It's a nice little break, nice little gap. Another 5-minute round. I quite like the chance to have like a rest, because it lets the athletes recuperate just a little bit and keeps it stops the stalling from coming into it as much, because you're not pacing yourself for 15 minutes, you're pacing yourself for 5 minutes, and then these guys are fit enough that the recovery will come in, and so they can really go for it. And 5 minutes of hard roll is not that bad for these guys. 10 minutes is bad, 15 minutes is really bad. So yeah, a little bit of respect there, I think. Yeah, Andrew's saying just 1 second. Kade is gunning to go. Barely gives enough time for Andrew to check. So into the script fighting again, up against the cage. That's like, again, shit like that is exactly why the ring walls are really cool, because it allows for a lot of dynamicism and a lot of new exploration of jiu-jitsu in environments, right? So like being able to push off the wall as a mechanism with which to come back into the fight and gain height over your opponent is really cool, because then it means if you're Kade, you have to be careful about forcing someone into a corner. And so really neat way to use the walls of the arena. We get double unders again. Kade's doing this really good job with that head positioning. It's neutralizing a lot of the power of the underhooks, and then again the nutcracker in the middle. It is really, really cool. And so you can see how Tackett's trying to off balance Kade, and if he's not careful, he'll end up getting thrown or foot swept or rethrown, that sort of thing. But it's a difficult position to play because you end up getting hip tossed, that sort of thing. Very nice counter. So Andrew tries to go for a Russian tie. Straight away, Kade is blocking the head, and you can see how he's turning the angle with his hips to stick this one out and try and go for a foot sweep straight away. So because Andrew was attached to Kade used the attachment for his own advantage. And then Andrew lets go, recovers really nicely. and then we go from there. And so you can see how they've lost a little bit of energy. Not too much, but enough that it's nice. You can see, okay, finishing that thought, you can see how they've lost a little bit of energy, but not so much that it's not exciting. It's now looking like real jiu-jitsu rather than spazzy jiu-jitsu. And I should add a disclaimer that that's just personal preference on my behalf, is that I personally like process jiu-jitsu, which is much more like Gordon Ryan. I like Gordon Ryan's style much more than I like this style of jiu-jitsu, just because I like it as a chess match more. And that's just me. If you like this, then 100% more power to you. And you know, like, you're right and I'm wrong, because it's your preference of jiu-jitsu. But I do enjoy when it becomes much more a chess battle, personally. And you can see how this was really nice, like leading into the wall. Andrew lost balance, and then he ends up getting flipped over the top, and he ends up losing the whole position. Kade is doing this really nice thing where he's already leaping to the other side because he knows that Andrew's going to be turning. And so if Andrew's not careful, he ends up losing his back control. It was a bit quick though, a bit spazzy, because this hook comes in and this underhook comes in. So instead of getting a really nice clean wrap around the belly, Kade has now dived on a guard, basically. You can see how Andrew's getting up. It's in the crucifix position, but because this is all happening so quickly, Kade's not necessarily able to get the wrap on the arm too effectively. And so Andrew's just going to TP up, head goes down, and he pops out the back. And then all of a sudden, it might turn into a trip or a throw or something for Kade. So Kade came off better in that particular exchange, but because he's so aggressive and he's so eager to get into the positions, he's not patient enough, and then it becomes like trying to out-time your opponent. And playing jiu-jitsu like this is really hard. It's really, really hard to be good at jiu-jitsu like this, because you need to have such a good awareness of what's going on, and you need to have such a good gas tank, and you're not working your way into the positions through small mistakes. You're just trying to beat the other person to the punch before they can close down the space. And so, like, generally it favors the person with a bigger gas tank who's more aggressive, who's more spazzy, which is why I don't really like it, because it doesn't, I don't know, speaks to a high level of skill to be able to do it effectively, but it speaks to a lower level of skill to exclusively do it at all, if this makes sense. Because you don't trust yourself to work through the process of passing guard. And we see that with Kade versus Levi, is that as soon as he started process jiu-jitsu, he started winning against the guard. Anyway, we're back to this match. It's really, really good. Tackles, I really like what Andrew's doing here with these single legs. That's really, really neat. So you see how he's backing up. He's going backwards. Gets into this hand fighting position, backs up, diving down as he's flaring the arms to the outside, and he's dialed in on that leg, you know. And so he grabs the leg straight away into the single leg takedown. Kade's doing a really good job of turning the knee in and defending the single leg. It's very, very hard. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work with the scissor kick takedown. So you can see how, yeah, nice. That back leg swung in, and then this overwrap pulls, and then the inside leg lifts. And so the single leg that was in the middle of the legs, you have to be careful of this, because it can turn into counter throws like Ushimaras, that sort of thing. It can also turn into a leg entanglement very, very quickly if you're not careful. So we get this invert. This heel hook wrench. Fucking look at his expression. He's so keen to break Tackett's fucking knee. And Tackett's rolling really, really nicely, and he's defending this really nicely. But don't think for a second that Kade wouldn't break his fucking knee, you know, to win. Which is also why I don't like this style, because it relies on just grabbing and fucking wrenching a submission, and then the risk of actually injuring someone like Tackett for life is higher, you know. And I personally don't like the idea of injuring someone. Just not that type of person. And so we get into this position, this leg lock position. It looks fine for for Andrew. So Kade's not exposed that heel, and Andrew was hiding one heel with the other. If we have a look at this again. So if we back up into the start of it, this is pretty fucking tight because Kade's on the heel, but Andrew's managed to, I don't actually know how he fucking managed to do this. He's got flexible knees, I suppose. So he sits down, the heel's not quite on, and he hides the heel back and around and underneath. And so the way to defend this is not to roll to the outside, it's actually to keep on rolling to the inside, hiding this heel further underneath the bum. And you can see how Kade's really, really close to it at the moment. And Andrew's hiding, we saw that for a brief second there, Andrew's hiding the heel up the back. And so we're making some space. Andrew keeps on rolling, and then manages to go underneath the arm and in behind. So it's very hard for Kade to get this exposure of the heel and wrapping on top. So now it's just a matter of foot flexibility and so on and so forth. And to be honest, I'd let my ankle break for $1 million, that sort of thing. I wouldn't let my knee break for $1 million, but I'd let my ankle break for sure. And so really, really nice defense. The threat is not really there anymore because the feet are hiding themselves, which allows Andrew to start fucking with the feet to escape. And then Kade's got onto the single leg, but he's wrenching it. He's fucking wrenching the shit out of it, and it's not really on. And Andrew's saying to the ref, it's not really on. So Andrew manages to, through to the work that he did before with his hands, he weakened the position of Kade's feet. So now on this turn, he manages to unlock and unwind, basically. Let me stand back up. It gives me the heebie-jeebies watching young dudes rip each other's fucking knees in half, though. Same type of body wrap positioning. Really nice uchi there from Kade. Almost got his back taken again, but I love this, what Andrew was doing. You see how he was following up the whole time, is that he's on this back end and he's not let go of this grip, because this grip, it means that he's kind of winning in this position. Yes, he can get mat returned all the time because of this underhook, and it's a dogfight in there. So he could be winning, he could not be winning. He's not technically at the moment. But if Kay's not careful, he'll get wrestled up on. And you can see how, because of this grip, it allows Andrew to follow with his head really nicely. So if Kade still goes up, Andrew will follow into like a single leg. And then Kade's really trying to go through and around the body. So Andrew, feeling the strain on the shoulder, goes around the leg with the underhook. Now there's threats for Darce chokes, and you can see how Kade's trying to lock up that Darce choke. So Andrew's defending this really nicely. He's opening up the space, like widening the shoulders out wide, and he's had to sacrifice the position to go onto his side in order to open up the shoulders so he doesn't get choked. So it's a good attempt by Kade here. You can see how this bottom shoulder is going further away, which means that it's harder to reach through with the hand. Okay, so this is really not bad positioning, but fucking Kade's so long with his arms, he goes for the guillotine wrap, and so it's really, really finicky positioning. Probably what's going on is this right hand is acting as a post and a staple on the wrist, and then the head is going back up and around the corner, put strain on the elbow, stop Kade from chomping in as much. Kade manages to lock in that Darce choke. It's probably not that tight yet, but Andrew's doing a really good job of defending this and moving away. So it looks tight now, and you can see how Andrew had to go on his side, run away from it around the corner, and then eventually flip onto his back to alleviate the pressure of this. And now he's trying to hug onto his own leg. And then the way that you alleviate this is exactly right. You just walk around the clock, trying to get the shoulder to the mat. And so it's tight as fuck now. Then you can see how it loosened just a second ago. So we're here. It's tight, 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 tight. Loosened for a second. See that? No, hang on, what was it? What am I meant to be doing here? There's a period key that goes backwards. Yeah. So, yes, there's a little bit of relief on his face. Sorry guys, I'm still getting used to how to do this. Maybe you should have just backed up properly and then let it play and then paused it half a second ago. Oh well, we're here now. So you can see how it's quite tight still, or it's quite tight again, but there was a space where we saw. Yeah, I'm actually just going to back up and then let it play and then try and pause it properly. There it goes. A lot of alleviation coming in from the choke now. On that right hand side that we can see in here, we saw the gap in the choke. There you go. This gap in here was the alleviation that I'm trying to fuck around with for the last minute. Sorry guys. That means that the dust choke is not on, but the north-south choke might be. And so Kade's still going for it. At the moment, he's choking Tacket with bicep and lat, and it's a very difficult position to play. Tackett's trying to get his hand on the inside to alleviate the pressure, and then he'll, defend it really, really nicely by turning back in to Kade. So we see how he's trying to get on his side and then bring his head past the hip, and then this is how we defend quite nicely. So there's a beautiful sequence of defense the entire way through by Andrew, and like really nice calm way to defend. So I would suggest that Kade is now winning because he's had 2 submission attempts plus a bunch of takedowns, more so than Andrew. So Kade is now definitely winning this match in my mind. So we get into this kind of a stationary breathing position where it's a closed guard, obviously, and then Kade were running forwards, trying to... I don't actually know what his plan was, to be honest with you. Just smother the other person with his fucking hair, I suppose. Andrew manages to get a body lock in the closed guard, which is quite nice for him. So we're over the top of the head. Now this is a guillotine attempt threat, or a Kimura threat on the other side, or a hip bump sweep. Kade has to be careful and respect this, and it gives Andrew a little bit of breathing room. And so we get into this position. Andrew doesn't want to let go of this particular advantage, so he goes for the wrap of his own leg, which basically allows him to hold on for minimal energy drain. And then Kade's starting to stand up, he postures up. Eventually, Andrew loses steam and then has to let go of the whole thing. So now we're into posture fighting, fighting for triangles, fighting to pass the guard, break open the guard, fighting for control of the head, and so on and so forth. Both of them are a little bit slippy now. And really, really nice K-guard into leg entanglement reap at the moment from Andrew. I love what Andrew was doing with this hand as well. He's stopping Kade from being able to turn back around the corner and flop this foot down, turning to face Andrew. And effectively what ends up happening is these hands up top end up cross-facing Andrew, flattening him out, and Kade would get mount if he doesn't stop this foot from going back around the top. So we'll see what happens. Andrew's hunting the back. It's really, really nice. And he's also threatening a calf slicer as well. And so it's a very dangerous position for fucking Mr. Finger Grabber himself, fucking grabbing onto fingers here and bending them backwards. It's a dangerous position for Kade to start playing until he gets hold of the toes. And so now this is a reverse threat. It's threats for both of them. I would suggest that it's dangerous for Andrew because in order to defend this toes, he needs to roll away, and he's stopping himself with this leg entanglement. So there's still threats involved for both of them. and they both have to be careful about what they do. But it's hard to tell who's really winning. I would suggest Andrew still is in this position, but he now has to be careful because of that toe. And it's a little bit hard to get that toe hold as well, I suppose, because of the ability of the knee to bend. So as the toes are going forwards, Andrew can just let his heels come forwards as well. Let his heels go forwards away from Kade. So what Kade needs to be doing is like pulling as he's rolling the foot forwards. But that's a hard ask because in order to get the leverage forwards, he needs to come forwards, which allows the heel to go away. And so the toe hold is difficult to get, and that's, you see how what he's trying to do is bend it up and over the top in like a corkscrew rather than straight away and then straight in with the ankle. And so it doesn't quite work. Manages to get back up. Andrew lets go, goes for another leg entanglement, and then Kade's doing a really good job of posturing and beating the leg entanglements with the hips going forwards. And so he tries to pass guard. Got this inside butterfly hook, and then the timer goes off for that round. And so, like, it's slower match now. Definitely, I would suggest Kade's favour. Yeah, and the judges would agree with that. So, it's 1-1 now. Whoever wins this round will win the match, and so we'll see how it goes. So we're into round 3 out of the best of 3 5-minute rounds. Once again, straight into tackles and a flyby. 1 second. Sorry, what have I done? I'm not super in love with what I saw there. Very good defense, but like, my ribs, have popped them out because I tried to invert that one time and I was just having like sympathy pains for ribs and shit like this and knees. So anyway, Kade defends that really, really nicely. So Andrew's got beautiful entries, and then like this really nice flyby, and then Kade just does a fucking somersault and spikes Andrew's head into the ground. Andrew follows him up the whole time anyway, and almost manages to get on the back. And so really, really nice work by Kade trying to fucking spazz out, and really, really nice work of Andrew trying to get up on top. So he manages to almost finish the position. I love this decision making from Andrew, because the temptation for a lot of people would be lift the head up around the corner, trying to go for a leg drag, pulling this top foot down, stapling the knee to the floor over here, and then the right hand get in front of the hip. The way that Kade is, because his shoulders are too tall, his hips are too tall, if Andrew was to try this, he would end up lifting Kade's hips off the floor and pivoting onto the shoulder, allowing him way too much room to move his bum away. So instead of this, he drives further around the corner, committing to the knee on the chest, stopping Kade from being able to get up. It's really, really nice decision making. It's very high level decision making. And like, this type of movement is technically wrong, I guess, but it's 100% the right movement to do at the time. And so, like, it's beautiful decision making by Andrew right now. And then Kade is forced into a close guard, which is the best thing for Andrew. Like, there's the reason why it's wrong is he end up in a close guard, but he wouldn't have ended up in the top of a leg drag because Kade is too spazzy, you know. Kade's too energetic. And so it's the best outcome, and it's genuinely world-class decision-making coming out of Andrew there. And so close guard is a difficult position to play if you're shorter than the other person. I really love this pin and go. So the step-up guard break. You can see already the guard at the top is quite loose. You see that gap in there. And so when the bum comes down and the knee goes into the bum, Andrew's knees will go in and his bum will come down. This guard will break open. And you can see how, Kade almost preempted it. And now, almost with that omoplata threat, but Andrew dives back in to the other side to make the distance for the leg to travel much longer. So very good work. And Kade was trying to push on Andrew's left arm for like triangle attempts and so on and so forth. And so now he's going for like a rubber guard, this type of thing. And if Andrew's not careful, if this hand is not on the armpit, it's down here, he will get omoplated from this position, or go-go plated, or triangled. So having the hand on the inside of the armpit prevents this space from opening up for the foot. Eventually Kade will run out of steam and he'll have to let go. And so Kade tries to shrimp straight away Andrews into like a body wrap type position. Very, very nice, because you don't want to allow Kade the ability to stand up, because there's too much effort trying to get him back to the floor. Unfortunately though, because of the knee that's across the belly, it's a little bit easier to lift you for sweeps, as we see. And it's really, really nice, really nice positioning from Andrew at the moment. Is that he donkey kicks out, he frees his bottom leg from the clutches of Kade's right leg here, and then he's starting to go around the corner. He preempts it too much, and then Kade, because he's like a bowl, is able to spin out and pull Andrew down. And so Kade's trying to spaz a little bit. He manages to get the guard back in. Andrew's not letting him have it. He runs around the side and pressures down. And so this is a very good position for Andrew to get to, because now he's got passing opportunities with the over-under. And you can see his head positioning is really good. He's on the inside of the armpit. The arm's wrapping onto the hip, and his right hand is controlling the priority knee. So Kade is coming into the priority hand so he can get the leg back and look for triangle attempts and so on and so forth. Really nice passing. I love what Kade's doing as a response there. Instead of trying to play, because he's so comfortable with his wrestling, has like a lasso wrap, and then Andrew tries to go around the side, as we see, and instead of trying to fight by bringing this knee out and up like what I'd be tempted to do, just jams the head down, goes belly down, and stands up. You can see. And so now we get into like this body wrap, but it's a very difficult position to play, because if Andrew steps up wide and starts standing, Kade's going to go for an over wrap and go for an uchi mat return. But Andrew makes a really nice decision here and pulls the leg through and then shucks the shoulder forwards, getting onto the back. And we have this like back body wrap and really, really nice straight away jumping. Tried this once and snapped my AC joint, so he's a braver man than me. And Kade is like looking for the defense of like the hooks going in and so on and so forth, but he doesn't quite roll or defend it in time. So Andrew jumps on the back, manages to get both hooks in, a body wrap in, really exciting stuff, and then Kade body slams his head. So close to being finished here. I can't see what's going on, obviously, but I would assume that Kade is defending the neck and is so close to losing that fight. Yep, he's defending the choking hand, and he manages to shuck Andrew off, and you can see how Andrew is now disconnected. The only thing holding him is his legs. And so Andrew starts to fall, and then Kade falls and body slams as he turns. And again, this is why I don't really like Kade as a grappler, is he just does shit like this without regard for the other person's safety. And you can call me a soft cock and all the rest of it, but like, there's a difference between Merengali snapping his own fucking shoulder because he didn't tuck and dive on the roll, and then body slamming someone's fucking head, because you don't want them on your back. And you can make the argument that it's a grappling match and it's for $1 million and all the rest of it, and fair enough, I would probably be willing to body slam someone's head for $1 million. But Kade does this type of shit all the time with all of his matches, and it's really aggressive and it's really like discourteous to his opponent, and it just speaks to like not giving a fuck about them, and For me, where I'm from and my upbringing, that doesn't quite sit right with me. Again, that's just me. He's an exciting grappler, but this type of shit is like, whatever. And so we get this overwrap and like potential for Uchi straight away, but he doesn't go for it. Instead, he starts turning in to face Andrew. I would suggest that they're both quite tired now. So there's 3 minutes to go. Hard to know who's winning this match. I would suggest still Kade. I would suggest still Kade. The impression I get is he's still better. But they're both quite tired now. And this is why the round system is pretty good. And Kade's going for this fucking elbow wrench again, and like a quick win, but not quite there. Very nice. He's like, very nice, Andrew. He's done this like 5-6 times in the match, and Kade's fallen for it every time. And so speaks volumes to the amount of ability for Andrew to disguise his tackle attempts. Doesn't quite manage to get it. They look like they both need a break now. And then Kade does the same thing. Manages to get the takedown, and I'm pretty sure that secures the win for him. So he just runs the legs, lifts Andrew off the floor, and then fucking look at that angle of his body. Like, he's like folding in half a fucking Paranormal Activity style, isn't he? Fucking hell. Like, this type of thing as well, just committing to this type of movement gives me the heebie-jeebies because like, there's a lot of force going through your neck. And if you're only 20-something years old, you don't want to have bulged discs in your neck. You don't want to have bulged discs in your back. And this type of thing is what gives it to you. So it's like for all of those grapplers that are like me, you're not old. You're fucking sensible. You're not old. 30 is not old. It's just I would never do something like this because I understand what it's like to have a chronic injury for 10 fucking years. And it's not fun. And I like the ability to walk. And so, like if you're looking at this and you're going, oh, I wish I could be like that. Well, no, you don't wish you could be like that. Because when he snaps his own fucking neck, he's going to be looking at you going, oh, I wish I could do grappling still. Regardless, beautiful fucking takedown. Glad that it worked out for him, but it gives me the heebie fucking jeebies, Really nice control over this top shoulder as well. Really, really nice control over this top shoulder. Andrew manages to get back into this fight, but Kade is now getting this wrap, and with the underhook is a little bit tricky, but Kade's pushing the advantage really nicely. So Andrew's playing this guard really nicely. He's forcing Kade to come out of it. We're definitely Kade's favour now because of that takedown. I would suggest that he's definitely winning this round. And unless Andrew can make something work, like a takedown or a submission, then he's going to lose. So we're back into the close guard. Really nice wrap. It allows him to have a bit of a break. I suggest that Kade is walking forwards to try and stunt Andrew's ability to breathe, because what ends up happening is like the hips will fold into the head and then the diaphragm will compress. And so it puts a lot of pressure on the person to open the guard and keep on fighting from like an open guard position. You can see that Andrew's really quite tired now, and he's probably a bit more tired than Kade is. Yeah, nice. And Kade's really, really long. He's going for a Darce choke inside the fucking close guard. Like, that's how long he is. He can get away with that type of thing. Like a fucking chimpanzee, isn't he? Like gorilla. Fucking long, long arms. Versus like the width of his body. Like if you look at his body versus the length of his fucking arms, his hands come down to like his thighs, don't they? So he can get away with things like the Ruotolo teen, which is just a standing Darce choke, a reverse Darce choke. And he can get away with going for Darces inside a closed guard and pushing the advantage. And so we're in the open guard. Andrew goes for like a wrestle up, you know, he has to, and then Kade just goes spread eagle, fucking legs, and then body flops on top of Andrew again for the sprawl, and he gets the guillotine wrap in. And so he's got the Darce choke again because he's so long, and this is a really, really effective technique to go for if you're so long. And then I would suggest that Andrew's probably gonna go out or tap out here. And so Andrew's fighting tooth and nail to stay in this fight, stay conscious, and he goes for the takedown, manages to get it because he knows he needs it. But again, this submission attempt is so tight that even if he gets the takedown points, he's probably going to lose the match anyway. So 30 seconds to go. Andrew's defending this really nicely. Kade's not letting it up. He's squeezing as hard as he can. Yeah, Andrew's trying to get to the other side of the body. Manages to loosen it up a little bit, but Kade's on the guillotine, and Andrew's head pops out. So really, really nice defense in terms of, I don't know how the fuck you're managing to survive this, son. Look how fucking tight that is. And like, again, the cage walls are really unique because they allow for this angle to defend. And so Kade is really good job of getting the hooks in and shutting down the jump to the other side, because if this knee manages to pass to this side of the body, the choke will largely be done. And then all of a sudden, Kade will be in danger of losing the match because he'll get to bottom side. And so Kade follows through and then manages to get the close guard guillotine. But again, Andrew's doing a good job of pushing the shoulder down and his head just pops out. Like that. And so they're fighting tooth and nail because neither one of them are quite sure, but I'm pretty sure that Andrew knows he's losing, which is why he needs to make something happen. And then again, yeah, this go-go platter attempt, if the rest of it wasn't enough, definitely would be. You know, Andrew dives in because he needs to make something happen, and then Kade manages to get the go-go platter in. And the way that happens is that Andrew's arms are exposed. And so Kade is lifting his hips slightly off to the side, and then manages to, you know, like as I said before, because this hand is no longer on the arm, the go-go platter is exposed now. And so he manages to get the elbow, pushing Andrew's head out of the side, and then because he's so flexible, the ankle comes in front of the face. And now all of a sudden, the shin is across the neck, and he's pulling the head down as a tight submission. And then the time goes off, so who's to say what would have happened or what wouldn't have happened? Really good match by both of them. A lot of sportsmanship going on there from both of them, and they know that it was a good match. They know it was exciting. Yeah, so we get through the highlights, and you know, Andrew's sitting there hoping Kade knows he's won. And it goes through the rounds, yeah. And so, I'm pretty sure that...
To the $1 million CJI Championship,
Yeah, so it's winner by split decision. So, you know, it definitely wasn't unanimous. It was pretty close, but I would also suggest that Kade was more in the driver's seat that particular match. Definitely a bit closer than all that, especially if Kade had made a mistake with the defense of the neck twice, he would have been submitted. But that last round with the takedown and then the top of the side control and the two takedowns or whatever it was, and then the submission attempts is probably what secured him the win for this. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a comment, a like, a subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Let me know what match you'd like next. If you'd like to join the Discord and chat with me, you're welcome to do so. The link will be down in the description below. Thank you so much, guys. Take it easy. Bye now.